I didn't say this on the last video when I was piecing all that into Premiere for the first time to see if it skipped any that one time. And I was positive we lost like an hour.
Oh.
I didn't drag enough file.
Okay.
Lost in space.
Lost in space.
Okay, let's get a harmony. Let's get a harmony on 1, 2, 3.
Lost in space.
I missed that. I can't hit that one for some reason.
You know, we have a good time with the intro. That's all that matters.
Yeah,
that's all that matters.
It's not uniform, nor that
it doesn't have to be. The perfection makes it boring.
Yeah, I think we're both hitting some vodka today.
Woo!
It's got some power behind it, man.
Like I was putting some bubbly. Oh God. Oh, it's fine. Jeez.
What? It is a little strong, I'll admit. It tastes mostly like vodka.
There's no other stuff in this.
There's lime.
Is there lime in that?
Maybe not as much as, yeah. We might have to go in and get the lime.
Ooh!
That tastes like straight vodka. All right, I'm gonna go get the lime. There's no way I can drink that. Oh my God, all this work. And that's it.
That was like a punch to the face.
It was.
I mean, I need it, don't get me wrong.
No, well, yeah, but
I don't. Oh, God. If I have a good breeze, the humidity I'm fine with. So I'm more of a, what do I say? I'm more of a woods kind of guy.
Yeah.
But you give me a beach with just constant air moving.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. I do like that's one thing about beach scenes that I don't think comes across very well in movies a lot of the time is just how much of a breeze there is all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it feels so good. It's
kind of like, I got to sleep with the fan.
Oh yeah, no, me too.
And I need that running air.
My wife just does not understand.
I have completely, my wife is now
She's a
on
convert.
board. She has to turn it on before she sleeps. Totally broke her. What you can't see is our secondary audio, which we would like to be our primary audio, is dangling above us. And just picture Thor Ragnarok when he is spinning on the chain. That's what's happening right now. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose. Oh, and tether that to that?
Yep. That's
Perfect.
exactly what I'm going to do.
Perfect. Look at you with your acquired knot making skills.
Oh, this one didn't work like I wanted it to.
Oh, wow, okay. Every time I listen to Gin and Juice, I want to play Grand Theft Auto. Did you ever see that meme? That meme that's it showed like Martha Stewart, a couple other people, and Snoop Dogg, and it said one of these successful people hasn't spent time in prison.
Yeah.
And it was Snoop Dogg.
Was Snoop.
And I was just like, haha, eat that.
That Martha Stewart.
I really enjoyed that meme, probably too much.
Okay.
That'll do. Yeah. Once it calms down, it'll be fine.
And then we can just adjust the directionality by moving that little tail.
Yeah.
This is some backyard brew shit, dude.
But that's what we're about, though. Making it happen with what you got.
Yeah, man. You just take whatever's in the garage and then you very
in this case, an expensive Tascam
Yeah.
with a not so expensive mini tripod and not so expensive rope.
$150 worth of rope holding up $300 worth of material.
It's fine. It's fine. That's how I do it. That's how Dad did it, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
I like it. I like where we're going. All right. So now that we're officially in the episode, I would say.
Yes, we're officially in the episode.
So what happened this week, bud?
Oh my God.
Anything? It's a crazy week.
So I was on furlough this week, and I have managed to fritter away a week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what I've done this week. Went looking for a car for the wife. She's driving this old crappy Hyundai Elantra, and it's not cutting it with the mom life and everything like that. Yeah. So looking at a couple new like mini SUVs for her, and I'm imparting to her the wisdom that I have not followed for myself. So stupidly, don't do this ever. My last three. So before I preface this, there is a saying out there that says, a car payment is a one-way ticket to remain middle class. Okay. And I 460% agree with that saying.
Yeah.
Because you think about how much money we spend on car, and it's not an asset, it's liability. It's liability through and through.
Is your car payment more than your mortgage?
Yes.
Mine is pretty close. Well, in fact, my car payment is definitely more than my mortgage, for sure.
So this is gonna sound, so we're both frugal. Let's preface that. We're very frugal people. Which is why we're able to do some things, because we just don't throw money at everything. And my house payment is $398. My mortgage payment is $398 a month.
Mine's like $450. Of course, I mean, we live in that may seem ridiculous to certain areas.
We live in the Midwest.
Yeah, we live in the Midwest, so we're certainly not LA beach bound level, no. But we both own reasonably nice houses for the. For the monetary value of the mortgage.
But we also, in your circumstance and differently my circumstance, we both were able to, and it's part of what we do, make more out of less.
Yep.
So, in your case, family-owned property for generations that you were able to redo to make it better for your family. And then for me, it was just right place, right time. Rented the house because it was close to family. And then they ended up letting me wrap what I paid in rent into the house payment. Plus, the house ended up appraising for like $20,000 more. Yeah. So I walked into the property with $30,000 equity. Yeah. And so it was just, it was again not making stupid decisions, making good decisions. Yeah. So now I say that. So to your point, making it so like my car payment is $410 a month. Yeah. Which to some people it's nothing. Yeah. Right. It's nothing. Yeah. And that was. But then again, I got a car. I had $10,000 equity in my previous car. I think it appraised for 20 or 21 or something like that. I owed like 11 on it, so I got $10,000. I got to roll over in equity. Plus the car was paid off the rest of the way. And so, between that, and I think I wrote a check for $4,500 on top of that. Still $410 a month. So stupid.
Yeah, mine's over $5,000.
Yeah.
Of course, I brought it brand new off the lot. Yeah. No trade in or anything. Mm-hmm. It again though, exactly to your previous point, it was not a great decision. It was the perfect decision for the time in my life when I needed something that was very fuel efficient, and frankly, I needed a little bit of that spiritual boost of being able to drive something nice. And like I don't want to underestimate that, because that's the emotional factor is a part to the equation.
Absolutely.
And it's more important to some than others, for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't think I took it too far. I bought a very reasonably priced car, mind you. But I've thought about it over the years, probably 4 years deep or something like that now, very nearly paid off. And I thought, man, all the stuff I could have done with $500 and maybe $20-ish dollars a month.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, we need to think, okay, so how many years have you been paying on that?
Yeah, 4 probably.
4 years?
I think I got a 5-year. Yeah, I think I got a 60-month
loan.
Yeah, I think I got a 60-month loan, and I'm not very far from finishing off. But it's hard to say because I've overpaid.
Sure.
So I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, let's say on average, let's say okay, so or you said 520.
Yeah.
But break out the old calculator real quick. So 520 times 12 times 4. So that's, if you don't mind me saying, that's 25 grand.
Oh yeah,
and,
yeah.
And so when you think about that, it's like, okay, if I would have bought a used, and this isn't to you, this is to me too.
Right.
If I would have bought a used, like in your situation, like well, it's not a coupe, a small sedan. Or
Right.
no, it is a coupe. So a small coupe, and depending on what you get or whatever, may have gotten it used, paid 12 grand or something like that.
Right.
And so you would have had another 12 grand in your pocket over the last couple of years.
Yes.
In
Yeah.
theory.
Right.
Like what? So, and then you start thinking, it's like, okay, well, if I put that in my, retirement account, what would that look like?
Yeah.
Or if I just simply
could've
saved it, or
saved it or put it in home improvements to
Exactly.
gather equity.
And that-
it could be a million different options,
Yes.
but you're resigning yourself to putting it into one place that is also constantly and very quickly depreciating.
yes. I like the saying. I know it's an oversimplification, but I very much like the saying of so what a lot of people recommend, and this is getting into some deeper stuff because it's kind of like they talk about. So the one of the secrets, we let a lot of little secrets out in this podcast that we don't like go into detail about.
Right.
And I kind of like the mystique of it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
If you want to know more and you read this, put it in the comments.
Right. Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah,
We
yeah.
just let those little tidbits
Yeah.
out.
If you're ever curious,
Yeah,
and
please.
this I can
Yeah.
promise you,
Yeah.
we regularly look at the I guess the comment section would be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
We regularly look at it. So if you're ever curious and you're like, wait, what do you mean there? Or even more importantly, you got this wrong. Instead, maybe
Yeah,
this or
absolutely,
something.
please.
Like argue your point, because this is something we're both kind of outside of our regular professions very excited and motivated by learning. So
Yeah, we read a ton on this kind of stuff that we
Right.
talk about, but it's not always necessarily in practice.
Right,
So
exactly.
It's not something we'd stamp expert on.
yeah, 100%.
But so how most wealthy people, and there's a joke with this that every rich person becomes poor before they die, and it's all in how they distribute their wealth. And that's why there's, and it's most of it's to get away from death tax and stuff like that, which is also why they have it now to where they pass that stuff to where you have X amount of years. So if you have say a parent that dies and they pass on to you their IRA, you have X amount of years. You cannot keep that in that IRA. You have to take it out. And as soon as you take it out, it becomes active cash and it's taxable. So they're guaranteed to get their tax, which we kind of talked about this in a previous episode a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
But they they just distribute it, and basically what happens is when you have your cash in accounts, it's not doing anything, so you don't owe tax on it. And so what a lot of times happens if you're wealthy and you have your cars paid off and your house paid off, you're not paying any extra tax on that. You're only paying tax on what you take out to pay your utilities and your other bills and stuff like that. So some of these really wealthy people that are worth millions are only being taxed on like 30 grand a year, 40
They're
grand a
paying
year.
Very little actual
Very little,
tax.
yeah. But that's why that's all set up. But what they do is, a lot of times when they buy a car, they will pay, save up and pay cash for it, or they have the assets to pay cash for it, and then they will, use that car. It's usually a used car or whatever, but they'll ride that until it's dead, and then they will take whatever money they would have saved up for another car and still paid themselves that, and then pay cash for the next car. And it was just never have loans, always pay cash, and you're not kind of caught off guard.
Yep.
Whereas yours is 520 or whatever, mine's 410, and that's money we could be doing other things with.
100%. Yeah.
But
Which
I don't
stinks, because it really does. And then I'm going to use the word compound. It doesn't necessarily mean compound, mind you, because like compounding it means something different, but it does compound on you in some way, because not only are you paying income tax on the money that you're using to pay for said vehicle, you're also paying interest.
Yep.
You're paying tax again on all of the maintenance fees.
Yep.
It adds up.
It very much adds up. Yeah.
And while I feel like the popular thing to kind of grind the rich on is probably income tax, and they're like, wait a minute, the CEO of said company paid 25 cents in income tax last year or whatever kind of spiel. But it's not just that. In fact, that might almost be a much smaller fraction of it, right? They find other ways that they're also making money, maybe even vastly higher income ways, and finding ways to get out of that. Rental properties, certainly.
Oh, sure.
Real
Yeah,
estate.
you do tax deferred, and then you roll that money into another piece of real estate property.
Right.
You're not paying a cent in tax on that.
Yeah.
There's no capital gains.
Yeah. So it may be increasing their net worth. It may be increasing all kinds of stuff, but they are properly fighting that compounding nature of just these costs and these taxes and these other things kind of ramping up.
And that's why. So again, it is used as a gimmick most of the time when you watch it on YouTube. You'll hear these people, that they at least claim they're wealthy, whether they are or they aren't. But they're like, I don't get a paycheck, I don't get paid per hour, so I don't pay taxes, or I pay very little in taxes and everything. But they don't actually tell you that that's how they do it. They have all of their money wrapped up into investments, and they only take out money that they need to survive or to do things, and that is all the money that they're taxed on. Which everybody would love to do that. But that's also why I'm personally a fan of a very simplistic tax. Like you get taxed a percentage regardless of where you're at. Take out all the caveats, so that way if you make $100, you're paying $17. That's a bad example, but or $1.07. Or $1.70 or whatever. Yeah. But if you make $1,000, you're paying $17. And if you make $1,000, you're paying 100. So it just keeps on going up, and it kind of evens out a lot. But this starts going off into some crazy directions.
Right, and there's a million ways to properly navigate that. My best advice, not knowing very many, probably only knowing a very very small handful of any of that stuff, is to not be scared of getting a CPA.
Yes.
Not being scared to get financial and advice from somebody that is paid and trained to know it. Go
to a fiduciary, go to a CPA.
Yep.
And get an idea of what your money's doing and what because honestly, not trying to get political on this in any manner, way, shape, or form, but the government benefits most from the people who don't know what they're doing. They get most of their money from the people who either can't hire someone who knows what they're doing or don't know to ask.
Well, and I would even say, the government as well, but the entire country is kind of built because of the capitalist nature of it, I would say, on people that don't know what they're doing, right? In other words, like, I'm not smart enough to shop around to different car lots before pulling the trigger on one of these things. I'm not I shouldn't say smart enough. I firmly believe that everyone is intelligent enough to do these things, but perhaps motivated enough or understand that it can make the difference.
Yeah.
Getting 3 contractors to spec your work may uncover thousands of dollars worth of difference to you in the end.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Yes, it is work to get multiple estimates, but again, it's almost the same vein where it's like, it's either I don't mean this in a derogatory term, but let's say the less motivated, better word for it, maybe the lazy, and then also the uninformed. When I was a kid, like when I was in my 20s or something, I didn't know any better. Yeah. It was just, my roof has a leak. I got somebody to look at it, and I paid them to fix it.
That's why I will never bash young people who try something different.
Oh yeah,
good for 100%. You for trying something different.
Right.
Just don't. The caveat that I have usually is don't pretend like you know it all when you try something different.
Yes.
Just know that you're trying something different.
Right.
I'll high five you for trying something different, but don't act like you have everything by the reins. Like, but good deal if you do. But that's usually the kind of caveat that I get into. It may be a
great way to do it. It may be a horrible way to do it, but you just don't know yet. I mean, how many times have you seen, this is a rhetorical question, somebody try to get around an established set of rules or, a way of doing things, and they're just like, great. And then you find out in a month or a year or something that it completely bites you in the butt.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's kind of like, to your point about, we are set up in a certain way. And again, it's about being informed. So some people, and we've known multiple people like this, they'll go to the same mechanic their entire life. As long as that mechanic's in business.
100%.
And sometimes that works out very well for you and actually will save you money because that mechanic's going to give you inside knowledge.
Yep.
But then there's the other side of that where the mechanic's like, I've got this business nailed down. I'm gonna do whatever.
I can do whatever. I can take advantage.
And
of
they're
the
not
situation.
gonna ask.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. You know, we've know people always go to the same car lot, always go to the same car dealer, the same salesman,
100%.
every time. And they're not getting special deals, but they think they are.
Right.
But there's a flip side of that, because if you know a contractor and you know enough and you've done enough research or you've become informed enough that you go, it's worth it to me. Like, so maybe this contractor is the cheapest, but they will take care of you.
Yeah.
They will give you that extra customer service.
Right.
They will be there for you. They'll be on call. You know you're going to get it. I mean, my plumber is that way.
Yeah.
I may not be getting the best deal out of him, but I am getting the best customer service out of him, and he will teach me as he goes.
Yep.
And so I have, and I'm going to get an impeccable job from him.
Yep.
So I have no problem going to him repeatedly, even though maybe I could find a slightly better deal. It's not worth it.
Yeah, you also have to worry about quality of work,
Yes.
ability to contact them,
But
and that's a huge thing with the plumber.
But you know, if you know the difference, right, at that point, then you're making a conscious decision. I'm willing to pay a little bit extra because I know I'm going to get extra care for this, and that means more to me than saving X amount of dollars.
Yep. We had a
is
mechanic.
fine.
We had a local mechanic that we were very much like that on. Pulled a couple of like, well, I guess we could do this. Like, how long are you going to keep the car? You know, kind of thing. Asking appropriate questions. Like, okay, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll probably keep it for another year, like tops. I'm just trying to drag this out another year until blank happens or whatever. And then he would adjust his like, well, okay, this, and this that I would regularly say in order to keep a well-running vehicle will probably last a year. As long as you're okay to take the risk, then I do think that this, and this needs fixed. In other words, like, your brakes are pretty close, but yeah, I think they'll last just fine for a year. If they start squeaking or if it starts making a noise, grinding, bring it in, kind of thing.
Sure.
But being able to have that dialogue. Now, when that mechanic kind of stopped doing that, and I noticed that there was less feedback and more, kind of take your order, do the deed, give me the money, take your car, kind of thing. That's when we stopped going to him.
Yep.
And you got to kind of watch out for that too, because everything evolves, and that was one thing that evolved is like younger kind of group kind of came in there and whatnot. And it was just handled a completely different way.
Yeah.
But I mean, 100%. It's the willingness. I mean, if I had to bake it down, it's kind of one of those things that I also believe in the workplace. The willingness to regularly experiment and to never be assured that whatever you're doing at any given time is the best way to do it.
Right.
Like, never.
The worst thing I can hear at any given time is that's the way it's always been done.
That's the way it's always been.
That's not a good
You
excuse.
can be 95% that whatever method you're using to solve an issue is definitely the best, most efficient way to doing it, but still keep your mind open to the other opportunities or other not necessarily opportunity, but other options for completing that.
Because even to that point, there could be other things. Maybe they're not quite as efficient, but they yield other dividends.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we can be a little less efficient because we're going to get all this on the back end.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's something I'm particularly passionate about from a work level is so often is the thing that often blocks me in the workplace is, well, it's set up this way. It'll take time to change, and that time is not valuably spent right now. So that puts the urge, like the impetus to figure that issue out. Then it immediately disappears. Your ability to argue against that's basically zero.
Sure.
So how can you keep your personal life, what you do have in control, willing to not, understand or willing to not complicate whatever issue you have with just, well, this is how I did it last time, or, the process of reevaluating just takes too much time. Sometimes it does, though.
Sure.
Like I'm going after a contractor, I have a leak in my roof or something like that. I need to get the first person, or else more like a possibly exponential damage is going to be caused to my property if I don't get this fixed immediately. Maybe you bite the bullet on the first one and just roll the dice. But that's, again, where multiple opportunities, let's say instead of of constantly going to a single contractor or something to get something repaired on your house, that you did have multiple that you regularly talk to, you'd at least have, that many or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in short, that there's give and takes to it all. And definitely, if I've learned one thing in my medium middle-aged life, is definitely don't just get one estimate on anything.
Oh, anything. Anything.
Yeah, and definitely get a personal accountant of some kind, preferably one that's legally obligated to act in your best terms.
Yep.
Fiduciary. In terms of managing your investments and growing your personal wealth. I mean, this is every day somebody financial advice, and it's something I kind of wish YouTube would concentrate on more a little bit. There's a lot of stuff
the not
in there.
get rich. This is just
is just everyday maintenance of your life. Are you going to go out and are you going to quit your job tomorrow? I'm going to be a real estate mogul. I'm going to put in so many toilets for people to poop in. It's going to be great. They're going to pay to poop in them. I'm
gonna get this amount per poop.
Yeah. Every now and then a quarter's just gonna fall out of the sky and I'm gonna go, yeah.
Somebody just pooped. Could you imagine? There's got to be somebody out there that has that locked down in a spreadsheet. That is like, this is how much I'm spending on this. This is how many poops I'm gonna get before I have to do it again.
We should contact our local. Is there a local place? What do they call it? Like Rent-A-Johns?
Oh yeah, there's like a Porta-John place around here somewhere. Like that.
We should call them and ask them if they have it. How much per poop are we talking about here? We're talking about just depreciation on your unit. We're talking about wear and tear. We're talking about whatever. Have you ever figured it out? Is it $1.50?
Yeah.
And every time I'm going in there, are you getting $1.50? And I mean, not by me, but somebody.
Yeah. No, it's kind of interesting. It's randomly distributed.
When I was in college, there was this construction site halfway between my buddy's house and the bar. And I'm not scared to say I laid waste to that Porta-John for a few times. They had a Porta-John on the construction site. Nice. And it was perfectly placed. Right when you were just like maybe 2 miles or something like that. It was probably a 3.5 mile walk, You're about 2 miles in and you're thinking, oh, got the bubble guts. Whiskey's moving downtown. I better do something about this. And you just glance on that beautiful shining porta potty right in the street light. And nobody's happy about it. You're definitely unhappy with yourself. You wish you had hand sanitizer. You don't want to touch your face. But I do wonder how much that construction company paid our group of friends to just go to the John on the way back from the bar.
So I have had to rent one of those.
Have you really?
I have, and if you and I shopped around,
like an event or something.
Yeah, we'll call it this current crisis.
Okay.
A lot of companies have had to put up Porta-Johns.
Oh.
For like visitors and stuff. So I want to say.
I don't even know how much they cost.
It's like I want to say it was $90, $90 a month. Plus, and that includes
so low.
And it was the cheapest place I could find, but they were nicer because they included hand sanitizer and that was the weekly checks and clean outs, replacing the toilet paper and making the hand sanitizer.
Pretty full service.
Full service.
That's pretty good. So it's probably we're down into the cents of poop right now.
It's pennies of poop.
Like it's almost number 2 for number 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, 1 for 1, 2 for 2. That's the porta potty rule.
It's better than the 5 for 5, I guess.
We got meat. It's not for sandwiches.
We've got the meats, not for sandwiches. Damn.
I did forever want to get we were going through custom license plates and I couldn't find any, oh man, so many people have gotten customized license plates with some really very funny stuff on them. And so I was going through my mind, and I'm not the most creative person when it comes to that, but they did have Toilet King available. And I desperately wanted to get Toilet King. And then I thought this would have been the weirdest way to start a business. Then I thought, how can you have a license plate that says Toilet King and not have a business?
Not have a Porta-John.
Yeah, like some kind of business around something.
Absolutely.
Like I would get the plumber that their business was called Toilet King.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's kind of like, God, what were those joke PSAs that I put together way back? And it was, one was, oh, God, it was Whacking It lawn service. And then I think I saw one somewhere called something like that.
Man.
And I was thinking, remember those Bud Light commercials where like, and there my boss was taking it in the can.
Yeah.
And it was, and I was like, all right, it's like, I walked out and it was really uncomfortable, but my neighbor caught me whacking it. It's like, it's the whole thing. And there was a couple of them like that, but that's kind of along those lines, right?
What was that one that was the police lawn care service?
Oh, is this when we were on the way to my bachelor party?
I can't remember.
It was lawn enforcement.
Lawn enforcement.
Lawn enforcement.
Man, and their cars, their like vehicles were all done up
black and white.
Yeah, similar to police vehicles. It was the best.
Well, it was like these people have to have business.
Oh, 100%. I feel like they shrink wrap their car. Wasn't that? Was it shrink wrap?
They had to wrap their car, or at least wrap the panels.
I don't know what you call it. Not shrink wrap.
Just wrap.
Yeah, just wrap it.
But yeah, no, absolutely.
Lawn enforcement.
Lawn enforcement. It was. And I think we ran across it like a couple times.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's free advertising for you, lawn enforcement, if this ever takes off.
Good job. That's the power of a name, though. It's the power of a brand.
Yes.
If a brand's really going to sing,
absolutely.
Then it's
memorable.
It's fighting so many of your battles for you.
Oh yeah.
And it's crucial in so many places. I hear, oh well, we're just gonna, we'll put the wood behind the arrow on our brand. We can call it Pegasus Interactive, and we're doing. We're making lawn implements or something, and it's like those two things don't have any connection to one another. There's no synergy between these two things. Are you sure that you would not try to build a brand a little bit closer to what it is that you're doing?
No,
it doesn't have to be comedy. It doesn't have to be any of that. It just has to be pertinent.
Yeah, something that either really ties in, but that is the best of both worlds, right? There's a saying in training: if you make people want to cry, if you make people want to laugh, they'll remember everything you said. Mm-hmm. You want them to feel those emotions because that takes that outer knowledge. Kind of goes into our last episode a bit. Takes that outer knowledge and ties it in inner to your feelings.
It bakes it in that a little bit.
And so if you can make people laugh during training, or you can shock them.
I've often wondered, what if you had like an environment in a training room that smelled strongly of something, let's say like lavender.
The sense of scent, yeah.
Yeah, or like if you're in an industrial like manufacturer or whatever, what if you had the training room smelling strongly of whatever kind of, not like chemicals, but like let's say grease or some kind of solvent or something like that. So when they're in there, the scent brings back memory. There's been various studies on that. I wonder that included with the training,
right?
Taking training for training purposes.
Sure. Trainer.
Yeah,
Training.
Yeah. Did you work in a locomotive yard? Were you training for a train?
It was a train?
Training for training?
Can you run a train?
Hoot hoot.
Ooh. Question marks.
No, but does it all? That was stupid. But gosh, did I get some personal enjoyment out of that? I don't know. I don't give
That's all that matters.
Hot crap what any of you think. I love saying train.
I don't give a hot squirt of nothing. I had someone tell me that the other day, and it took me off guard. They're like, I don't give a hot squirt of piss about that. And I was like, I haven't heard that since I was a kid, and I was taken aback then.
I want to use that more. What a powerful phrase without using curse words. That's kind of a curb, admittedly, just to be, transparent while we're doing this. I've had to curb my mouth a little bit, and it's difficult because I got a potty mouth.
Yeah, when you get going in an informal setting.
And it launches right out of there. And I knew in my personal life, certainly around my children, we try to curb it. And for various other reasons. Certainly at work, same deal. But in my inner child, he's down there just like, just racking them off.
Oh God! So sitting in meetings.
Yeah, I have a new appreciation for a good like borderline insult euphemism towards being able to say something like that. Like, I don't give a hot squirt of piss what you think about it.
Oh my God.
And it's like, ho, 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 ho.
You don't?
Yeah. I don't even know what to say to that, sir.
Because there's nothing to, like, you have been put on notice at that point. Is 100% sure you know where you stand.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Not in a good place is the answer.
Yeah, this guy's borderline with you right now.
This, I'm pretty sure if looks could kill, I'd be dead, sir.
Sir, I don't know how I've offended you. Maybe it's because I had coitus with your daughter.
Damn. This is what a drink.
Coitus?
But then the answer would be something you wouldn't expect, like, no, that's the one thing I'm okay with. But what I'm not okay with is you sideswipe me in this meeting.
I saw this commercial. It was on Reddit, so I don't know if it's new or old or whatever. I have no idea, but it was sourced from Reddit. And this young kid goes in and he's looking around the condom section, you know, and he picks one and he holds it up, and there's this old lady down the aisle from him, and she kind of looks over and she grins a little bit, you know, kind of the giggle, you know, and she goes, looking for a good, you know, no, I don't want to say that. That sounds so shit. She's like, you're in for a good time tonight? And he goes, I hope so. And then they walk out. He walks up to his girlfriend's house. You know, she opens up the door. He's in there, you know, give a little hug. And she goes, Mom, hey, I want you to meet Andy or whatever. And she turns the corner, and it's the lady from the store.
Oh, no. That is rough. That is a foreign condom commercial they would never allow in the United States.
It was Durex.
That's right up there with. I really enjoyed those. I saw a couple of these, and you shared one, and I shared another. Those meme commercials were like, I'll use mine for instance, but you had the wine bottle. But you know, walking up and like this, it's almost like a PSA. And this hillbilly's like, man, I tell you what, things are getting crazy up in here. Some woman came up and offered me a Bajowski and a donut for a roll of toilet paper. And, man, I don't want to know, but I want to let you guys know that she went off over this way, and he's got the donut in his hand, and I was just like, oh, my God.
I love those commercials.
The subtle, like, oh.
And it speaks to the core of being a human sometimes, where you got that lizard brain happening.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you're making $1 million a year or, you know, $9 grand, you're just scraping by. Everybody's gonna.
Everybody can get a laugh.
Brain.
What's funny is when that was in the setting that I saw that shared in. The spread in pay was probably of people who watched this and shared it was somewhere around the range of about 350 grand a year. To like 60 grand a year.
Right.
And everybody totally inappropriate. I should not have known about it, to be honest. Totally inappropriate. But the spread on like income on that, I was just like. So that is 100% correct. Because I was thinking, this person was at this level. And these people were at this level. And this person was at this level. And every one of them thought it was the best thing in the world.
It's how I feel about fart jokes. Which, you know, it's the dirtiest bottom of stand-up humor, right? Launching out a fart joke.
Most on the nose or on the butthole.
On the brown eye.
But so this is straight on the starfish.
There's a reason why it's around, though. It's because it speaks to the basis, like the very basic lizard brain of a human.
Because every one of those well-to-do people, if nothing else, were kids once.
Yes.
And also,
100%.
They're just people. They're just men and women.
It's just another person. You can train somebody to be offended by that, but
that's what it is.
That is 100% what it is. If you make to any 3-year-old in the country, they're gonna go. It's just it's trained otherwise. And is it cheap? Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
It's not inventive. There's nothing about it that's, you know, breaking any molds or that's gonna establish you as like an individual that really knows, you know, like a good piece of comedy. But it works, and that it works. Once you can get somebody over those trainings, is kind of amazing. And we find a little bit more about that. Well, I personally do. I'm sure humanity in general has known about many of these things, because I can't remember what it was. Like one of those Sanskrit era tablets that we found was like a Karen style complaint to a business. Another one like was like a porno kind of ad. It was like a sexy story, right? So like, whether or not we can conceive that in the Middle Ages or whatever, there was these kind of salacious things going around, and it was still humans in everyday life. It's still quite interesting to think about how many of those things we take for granted every day and just our natural behaviors.
Yeah. We're more evolved than that.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
don't have to talk about that anymore.
Are you kidding, Sullivan? I haven't laughed at a fart joke since I was 5 years old.
In some cases, that might be legit true.
My daddy beat me with a cane until I bled.
Didn't laugh again. Ever. At anything.
That's how I got this detached retina.
You ever wonder why I look at you sideways? That's where that term came from.
Daddy beat me with a cane.
So, all right.
That being said, I like to behead cats in the alley.
Ooh.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Though, I mean,
Woo.
it comes out, man. That lizard brain will find a way to eke through your defenses.
Oh, yeah. And it'll sneak up on you.
American
If nothing
Psycho
else,
all
you're-
the way.
American Psycho. Yeah.
Because that's all that was. It was the human passion.
Who wants to listen to Huey Lewis in the news right now? So I'll take this all the way back. I love how many alleys we walk down.
Oh, yeah.
Dangerous alleys in some cases. But
very borderline alley.
so all that to be said, knowing that I should absolutely just either pay off that vehicle, or knowing that I should even maybe trade down, you know, being the frugal person that I am dangerously close to buying a Tesla.
Man, I dig it. I love it. You even know better, and you're making that must make it so much harder.
That's what it is. So okay. I like the way you said that. I know better. So yes, to a financial degree of paying something it's something that I can't pay cash for.
Right.
Knowing
exactly.
that I should.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get a loan for it. I mean, they're not outrageously priced vehicles.
No,
they're above average, I would say, but not like.
You know, one of the things. Well, there's a couple things. But so I did the numbers, and in the first couple of years, I would save somewhere to the tune of like $6,000 in ownership.
Yeah, maintenance.
So maintenance being one of them, because you only need a couple of maintenance cycles for the first. God, I can't remember how many miles now. I'm starting to take the deep end off of that, but. So you don't have to have so like my vehicle in the first year, I would have spent. So in different cars do different things as far as their maintenance cycles goes. So you know, past the normal like checking everything, they have like okay, it's time to do the and then the belts
change your transmission fluid,
change transmission fluid and all that stuff. So my vehicle has a kind of almost what I want to say spread out. So yeah, so my car does like a. Basically, it's kind of tamed down to like we'll call it approximately $500 a year.
Okay.
And they're like, okay, this is the normal stuff, and then this is the extra stuff you probably should do each year.
Sure.
Now some are different. So like my parents' vehicle, they bought a brand new car. They did it the smart way. They're calling it their last new car. I doubt that, but that's what they made themselves feel better for retirement,
Makes
right?
sense.
So they call it their last car. They're about to spend like $1,500 on theirs. Now, they're not going to have to do it again for a few years, but it's like a one-time front load. So every company kind of just loads it different.
Yeah, they have their own maintenance schedule for sure.
But they still have it. Whereas with Tesla, they don't do that. So you've got this one piece, and I wish I would have looked it up again before we started talking. But basically, for the first like 50,000 miles, you don't have to do anything to that thing. And I'm like, there's
no really oil changes or anything
There's
like that?
no oil changes. You don't have to change any type of fluids in the motors or anything else. You have to do the tire rotations. You have to change out the tires. You will eventually have to deal with the brakes, but that is also their brakes are set up for that regenerative braking. Those brakes last for a long time.
And the batteries last now for a very long time.
The batteries are starting to be rated for 1 million miles.
Yeah.
So I was watching this video on it, and he said he lost 5% at like 60 or 70,000 miles.
Yeah.
And other people say plus minus of that,
Right.
but like couple
depreciation wise or cost of maintenance.
No, on the batteries overall.
Total charge.
Yeah, the total charge.
Okay, I got you.
And the resale values crazy insane high.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
On there. It's kind of hard to find that resale value. There's just a few brands that have it,
Right.
but they're not like, it's not like buying don't sue me, bro, but it's not like buying a Beamer or something like that where you're losing 60 grand in your first 3 years.
I was looking at the Pontiacs. I think it's
The
Pontiac.
one that doesn't exist anymore.
Well, what's the town and country built by?
Chrysler.
I was looking at Chryslers. And the depreciation on those, whoever goes to the lot to buy a Chrysler on almost all of their vehicles is an insane person.
Yeah.
You could buy a car that's been used for 1,500 miles and get a significant fraction, say 6% off of the total MSRP.
I bet it's more.
Oh, I bet it's more.
Yeah.
I was padding it in my brain.
Oh, I'm sure you were trying to be nice about it.
Yeah,
but I guarantee it's more.
Substantial.
So when you...
And it skyrockets.
Oh, God, yes.
So
the vast majority, little tidbits here again for everybody, the vast majority of the total value of the car, you're going to get rid of most of the depreciation in the first 3 years.
while you're paying on it, by the way.
Yeah,
on
while
a
you're
regular 60-month
still
loan.
paying full price for it. Most of the depreciation happens, and actually, depending on the car, between the first, we'll say between 4 and 6 years. So we'll just average it and say 5. And after about 5 years, you have lost 60%. Let's call it 5. So 60% of the vehicle's value is gone in 5 years.
The other part about that is it doesn't matter whether it's the mileage doesn't make that big of a difference. You could have driven it off the lot, parked it in a garage, and have not driven it since. That's not healthy for the car, but I'm just saying that the mile, you could have a 0 mile pre-owned 4-year-old vehicle, 4 model years in the past. You're still gathering that depreciation. It does not matter. In other words, the quality or the
age dings it more than the mileage.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Far more, substantially more.
So the car that her and I are looking at, the car is a 2017.
Yeah.
It's 2020 right now. It's halfway through 2020. So actually, we're only a couple months away from most automotive dealers coming out with their 2021 models.
Yep. And you're buying it right after that big depreciation swing.
Yeah.
The potential 3 years.
This vehicle had one owner, no accidents, which is Carfax, no accidents or anything else. It only has 28,000 miles on it for 3 years. Could potentially be slightly more because they could have bought it in 16.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Which is likely, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost 4 years old, and it has lost 12 grand, maybe 13 grand of its value.
Yeah. And that's a third.
For a total, it's
that's
a 30.
over a third.
That's a third. Yeah, it's basically a third of the vehicle value gone. So
it doesn't make sense
to
buy new cars.
Yeah, no. And so you add a couple years into that, and that's the other. That's another piece of it. And then you're down to about 40% of the value left. So that keeps that quota kind of going, keeps that or that those numbers accurate.
The thing that's getting me, and auto manufacturers did not always have this, is they kind of always had it. I hate to regress and waffle that fast, but the things that I like in a vehicle, being the person that I am, the adaptive cruise controls, the hooking up to your phone in a certain way, having a router or a router, as the in our international friends would say, having a direct uplink to cell towers, all the techie gimmicks of that. Of course, the new auto driving or whatever, autopiloting. Mainly in one of the most critical things, we've had this discussion many times, one of the most critical things in a vehicle for me is adaptive cruise control.
Oh my God.
It is
life-changing.
It's life-changing when you get it. So we are in a cusp right now where 3 years ago that was rare.
Yes.
Now it's becoming less rare. It's still pretty rare though.
It's oddly
usually
still rare.
Get it on higher trims and other stuff. But 3 years ago, 2016, 2017, they didn't even have good support for Android Auto or Apple's whatever, their connection.
Yeah. Android Auto, CarPlay.
CarPlay. It was spotty. It was there, 100%, but it was just spotty.
Yeah, Apple CarPlay,
from model to model, from trim to trim.
Yep, depending.
Yeah, and I'm just a sucker. I am a sucker for it. And the reason why I was waffling earlier is, did they use that with like mechanical windows? You know what I mean? Did they do that with automatic door locks? They do that with key fobs. Certainly push button start. You know, that's
trying to get
older.
you into a level trim.
Reverse cameras.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
the
absolutely.
whole thing.
Which of course now you have to have. But yeah, absolutely. And you know what's funny is, so my 2015, I'll go ahead and say this, my 2015 Honda Accord, I had the Touring, but I forget, it was like the mid model even had the adaptive cruise control on it. It was a 15.
Yeah.
My 2018 vehicle that I have now does not have it.
Yeah.
Now it has other stuff, like it has automatic brights and all kinds of other stuff.
360 cameras.
It has a 360 camera view all the way around the car. My Honda didn't have that, but it did have the right turning and the backup.
Yep.
But yeah, it is one of those things where it's like, but if there was one thing I missed most, it was that adaptive cruise control.
100%.
You get stuck on a 2-lane road,
and
you have your cruise control on, and you that's first world problems. You get used to having that. It's like, oh nope, the car's going to automatically adjust for this person going between 40 and 60 miles an hour and can't make up their mind.
Yeah.
Because I will take somebody who drives fast all day long. I'll take somebody who drives slow all day long. But if you are all over the place and you have a plus minus 20 mile an hour variant, and I will rage.
It is the worst.
Absolutely.
Going on road trips. So I went on a road trip last summer, and my car has adaptive cruise. It's a 2016 of its model year. My wife's car does not have adaptive cruise, and I can say it was miserable for some reason. Like, there were a few occasions where my brain said, this is dangerous, boys and girls. My brain said, you don't have to touch that, it'll get fine. Because, you know, a car's, I'm gaining on a car a little bit too quick or something. Yeah. My first instinct is no longer to hit the brakes. It's just that, it'll catch up. The adaptive cruise will get it, no big deal. Mindlessly plug my own video here. If you guys haven't gone out and viewed some of our other videos, here's a chain we used in the suspending some seedling lights. And go have a check, man. I
recommend it.
I recommend it. It's all about getting out in the workshop, piecing something together, not always relying on somebody to deliver you the exact thing, the exact product. Why wait for a product? Necessarily. If you're looking to build something yourself, if you're wanting to just create something on your own, the thing that hit me is when I was a kid, I loved dating myself, but like erector sets.
Sure. Yeah.
Legos, they were
God, Legos.
Even Hot Wheels to a point where you had all of your tracks or whatever, and you could put them all together and build them up different organizations. I don't know what to call that, but in my adult life, I lost it a little bit.
That's planned.
It's
That's
definitely
a conspiracy theory sounding there, but no, that is
the Rothschilds didn't want me creating things.
The Rockefellers weren't into this. They wanted me to be a worker and not an owner. No, that's 100% true though. That's the biggest thing that we lose.
But that's exactly what
that dream.
We lose the dream.
That's 100% right.
But I have a field of them. A field of dreams. Mm-hmm. Oh.
I'm melting.
Daddy, don't leave me.
Was it his dad?
Yeah, it was his dad.
It was his dad.
Yeah. Well, I have a catch.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, absolutely. Good plug.
Yeah.
That was a good plug. I like that.
I liked it.
But to your point on the cars, so there's absolutely you get accustomed. It makes your driving experience better, especially if you have to commute. And even on this, Tesla, I was looking at the Model 3s, and everything in that car is what my car can do plus more.
Yep.
Plus what my old car could do and that I miss and everything else. And it's like, well, it seems like a win-win. This is super first world problems. Judge me, bro.
At me, bro.
First of all, it's a car. So I've driven an SUV for long enough that it's kind of like, man, do I want to make that jump back to a car?
Yeah.
But the main thing is, So like my vehicle has an automatic tailgate.
Oh yeah.
And that is one of those things that's like, you just get super convenient. You do click list, again, first world problems or whatever. And of course, with the current world situation that shall not be named, they're like, please pop the trunk for us or pop your tailgate and then close it once we're done. We don't want to touch. We'll drop your stuff off and leave. Right. And I just sit in my car, and as soon as I see them coming up, I hit the button, pop the tailgate. They put the stuff in. I say thanks. They say thanks. I hit the button again, close it, and I drive away.
Yeah.
I don't have to get out of my car.
Yeah.
It's the most convenient thing ever. And it's the most lazy thing, but convenient thing ever. It saves me tons of time. I don't have to go wandering through the store.
Well, plus, we're in an area of the country where it gets cold. I mean, through the winter, that has value.
The one time when I was using it, it was cold outside. There was enough heat rolling out. They're like, oh, thank you. This feels so good. Yeah. Like coming out. Yeah. But no, absolutely.
You're breathing the disease that shall not be named air, but it's fine.
But at the time, that wasn't a thing, right?
Oh yeah. Well, okay, that's fair.
But no, absolutely, and. Having this trunk on the Model 3s, it's not automatic.
Yeah.
So you got to go back there and open it up for them. And there's little things
you can't pop it from inside?
I don't.
You just have to close it.
I think you can pop it, but it's like the old style trunks. It just unlatches.
Right.
And then it kind of floats there.
Yeah.
Maybe that's good for them. I don't know. Maybe they're good with that as long as it's open.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where it's like, oh, man.
That's what I'm telling you. It's the features.
The
features are what draw that higher price. They what draw you to the more modern, well, not modern, but I say more the current model years or something.
Absolutely.
And car manufacturers very wisely, but also very deliberately limit your extras that you have in a car.
And so that's the thing. Okay, so your car, my car, any normal car, those features are either there by hardware or they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I both love and hate that Tesla, you could get one of 3 different models, 2 different models, depending on what it is.
Yeah.
And it has everything, but it is disabled by software. And there's something about that
it's kind of funny, though, because I feel like I've seen people that have hacked that already to enable it.
There are. So
like you probably got to go through all kinds of bad stuff.
I'm sure. Yeah, well, so like I would never do that just because like what if I hacked this and enabled it, but that stopped me from getting updates.
It's definitely stopping you from. It's blocking you from.
So that stopped me. So it's like jailbreaks, right? Yep. You never hear anybody jailbreak anymore,
right?
But I'm sure somebody does. But it's like jailbreaks of phones. Like you don't get to get that update. Yeah. What if that update contains a security feature that makes your phone super vulnerable?
And we've hit a few of those recently.
And so let's say, with your car, especially with like autopilot and autonomous driving and stuff like that, what happens if like there's a feature in there that makes your car every 222 miles or whatever? I'm not saying this happens, right. But what if there was a bug that every 222 miles made your car randomly go left?
Right.
And they caught it almost immediately and updated again almost immediately.
Yeah.
And you can't get that.
Yeah.
Like, so I would never mess with that.
It would just be like pirating video games now, where they release the 40 gig patch on day one or whatever. Basically, effectively making pirating very difficult.
Very difficult. And here's the other thing with that. So I'm not going to say I'm a Tesla fanboy, but if there's something as close to that as possible without being that, I'm that. So I'm not saying anything bad about them. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. They have put in the time and effort, and I get it. It is actually cheaper and think about this. It is cheaper for them to produce a couple of models that are identical in hardware.
Oh, mass production.
And just up and downgrade via software. Yeah. Then to actually say, no, leave the hardware out of this. Because that's kind of amazing.
Isn't it true that you could go on a test? Well, I'm probably baking this down to its very, very basics.
Sure.
But let's say you go out, you buy a Tesla, you pull it in the garage, right? Mm-hmm. You can go to a Tesla, the website or something, and then you can say, in fact, I do want the automated driving feature or whatever. Pay for it online, drop whatever the couple of grand it is, 2 to 4, I think, depending on, it's 7.
Oh, man. Gosh. It used to be 6, I think.
Manufacturers.
But there was different. So
but then it would enable it. Yes. So you could literally go onto a website into like a...
Well, so here's the beautiful thing about that. And this is actually very pro-Tesla for this decision. And none of this is negative Tesla, but this is very pro for them.
$7 grand for a feature is negative.
Okay, that feels negative.
It's negative to me.
But think about it. So they used to have. Let's think when you are just financially stable enough to buy a base model Tesla of some kind.
Gotcha.
Would say agnostic to models.
Yeah.
But your financial situation changes. You're like, I can't afford to spend $6-7 grand on the
Right. But you could still
on the
get it.
autonomous. Yeah, and then later you get a promotion,
Right.
or a couple of promotions.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what?
I'm gonna go.
I get updates. Heck, their updates have been upping the amount of miles. Like when they first came out with the 3s to now, they're up to like 320 some miles on the extended
energy
range.
efficiency and whatnot.
Yeah. They're just they've been able to code it to make enough changes to actually make the battery usage better and everything else, and you actually get an extra like 20 miles now than you did from the beginning, or say equivalent. I'm not going to say the exact number, but somewhere like that.
So it's not a big deal. And I'm playing a little bit of devil's advocate.
No, please, I want you to.
No, I would love to own a Tesla. Don't get me wrong. If I had infinite funds, I would have.
No question.
I would have 50 cars in a garage someplace. And just,
God, absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. But it's not a big deal for us. But you can't really work on them.
You cannot. But then again, I would argue, can you really work on your vehicle?
Well, I certainly can, but I could drive it to, like just in town here. Look at the backfires on it. I hope you got the pop, 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 pop. But you can't really work on them in the sense that, like, you can drive them to your local mechanic and they're even able to work on them.
Sure. No, that's true. But you got to think about it too. With the Tesla. Okay, so let's just say a Honda.
Yeah.
All right. So on a Honda, you really don't want. You can, but you really don't want a random mechanic working on it.
It's fair. I do take it to the dealership.
You can't. I did the same with mine. I always took it to the dealership because then again, having the knowledge that I had of them at the time, I knew I would be better off going to the dealership,
right,
because they had the right equipment to really dive down.
Some of it is specialized and whatnot.
Some of it is specialized. Now, I'm not saying all. I'm not saying that your average corner mechanic that you love can't work on a Honda. They
can't give it an oil change.
Yeah, they absolutely can. But so typically, again, because you don't need a lot of maintenance done to it.
Right.
So you need far less maintenance done to a Tesla. So on the converse argument of that, plus they have not only because they'll try to set you up for one of their service centers, which there's one within an okay driving distance from here. So you have one that you can go to with that, but they also have those mobile units. They will drive a giant van, straight to your house and jump out and fix whatever needs to get fixed.
Yeah.
They call them mobile rangers.
Oh. Kind of like a roadside assistance, almost.
Uh-huh.
If it's anything more than like I have a blown tire or something.
Yes, and they've come out and replaced like fenders.
I wonder if AAA has a battery on the back that they can give you a dose of like 15 miles or something.
That would be interesting if they did.
And I never even thought about it, but like increasingly it will become an issue to where you're eventually going to be servicing an industry, probably not around here. Well, not immediately around here by a long shot.
Right.
But I wonder if regular tow services,
Start to have stuff like that.
California, New York,
Yeah.
Florida, places that have had better adoption.
I wonder. I haven't
bet
read
they
anything
do.
about that, but you would think there would be.
What kind of modal charge unit would that even look like?
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to have
Here's
either a generator. You could have a generator.
Yeah. That thing would have to put out some. I wonder what's the amperage? What's the voltage and amperage going into one of those things? It's got to work off of a 240 in your garage.
So it works off of 220 in best case.
Or 220, sorry.
Off of 110, you can get on average about 4. I think it's 4 miles an hour.
Okay.
4 to 7, I think. Somebody's going to correct me about this because as soon as we put Tesla in the thing, it's going to pop up another place. Somebody's going to wreck me on this. But I think on average, 1 to 10 or 110 will get you around like between 4 and 7 miles an hour on charge time.
Right.
220 will get you around 30 miles an hour on charge time.
Okay.
And I think the amps, you have to have it set up for, I want to say it's between 50 and 80.
So you've got to have a pretty good service.
Yes.
Pretty good
Yeah.
service.
And you get in the right wires run, right?
So here's the other thing. Okay. It's a portal. Here's my thought. It's not a negative.
Okay.
But Tesla is a portal into some large life changes in that you're getting prepared for the electric vehicle kind of era, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're probably going to have to run a better service to your garage.
Yes.
You're probably then you're going to buy into it. You're going to love that car because there's no doubt Tesla owners love their cars. And I'm certainly not arguing that they're not excellent cars. Mm-hmm. But then you're going to want a Tesla Powerwall. You're going to want the
$500.
The whole.
Oh no, for the actual Powerwall and the whole thing. Sure, it'll definitely open the floodgates to wanting to spend more.
Well, because there's a lot of things that you can just okay. So there's little things with electric cars right now that urge you towards that, right? Because now we can just go to the local gas station and we can, no big deal. You kind of got to be a little bit more prepared, not again vastly more prepared because they have a good mileage.
If you have a 220 outlet available for your, which I mean, even the portable charger that comes with your car, you can have the adapter for it that goes into 220, so you don't have to get the actual like permanent fixture on your garage wall.
Oh, you can
actually do you can plug the actual existing one that comes in your mobile charger.
Yeah.
It'll comes with 110, but you can get a 220 converter on it.
Yeah.
And it's just the cord because it's rated for both.
Right.
And you can still get a fair charge out of 220 just with the mobile one that comes with it. But here's the thing.
You're just making me so sad because I already want 220 up in this beast because I want to be able to weld.
I'm giving you another reason to yeah, absolutely.
I want to weld. And the service required for that. I gotta get a new cable buried.
I know. But here's the thing. But you have that and you plug it in at night. It regulates its own charge. So you just pull it in the garage, get the handle out, you press the button on it, the little flap comes up, you plug it in, and you let it take care of itself overnight. And by the time there's no matter how much you drove that day, especially on a Model 3 extended range, it's like 322 miles or whatever. If you plug that in every night, by the time you get out in the morning, you are leaving with a full charge. My vehicle, my gas vehicle, only gets about 300 to 320 miles per tank. So for me, like literally, I don't have to make a special trip to the gas station. I just plug it in and go to bed. And it regulates itself.
Your home's your gas station.
Your home is your gas station. It's amazing. So.
But at the end of your 320-mile journey or whatever, there's not necessarily a place to gas.
You ain't carrying a gas can.
That scares me. You're not carrying a gas can.
That's true, but I mean, think about it though. How many times in this day and age?
Road trips.
But there's so many superchargers around at this point, especially on main routes.
I mean, yeah,
but how many
that's
times?
Probably true.
How many times have you been like just on any given year? How many times have you ever been like, actually let yourself get to eat?
No, that's fair, but also because and we're not taking road trips every day, and
sure,
kind of thing. You're probably not going to take your Tesla on a road trip either because you have a gas vehicle still in the house and everything else. I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it. That being said, it does scare me.
No,
as a red-blooded American.
Absolutely.
Oh, say, can you see? No, but no, it does. It scares my American.
And you know what?
Cold-blooded heart.
I am waiting for them to put in like the Webster Dictionary the term range anxiety. Mm-hmm. It's a coined term. It's range anxiety. So no, I don't disagree with you that feels foreign to me.
It's
but
uncomfortable.
Every person that I have ever watched, especially and I'm always going to have a gas vehicle.
Right.
So if I really am worried about whatever I'm doing that day, I can always go to that. But on a daily driver, there is not a time that I'm going to come home and I'm going to plug it in.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
So here's the other thing. So I calculated out what we pay in electricity around here. Again, I'm going to save around $2,000 a year. That's not chump change.
No, it's not.
And then on top of that, I'm going to save another $500-800 a year on maintenance.
Yeah.
That's not chump change either. I mean, yeah, it adds up. It's by itself. It's when you think about a whole year, you're like, hey, $800. But that's not chump change by itself. And so you add that up, and the amount of savings you start looking in. And it's interesting too. I actually looked it up. So Tesla has made good on what Elon said that you can get a $35,000 Model 3.
Is that what you're going to go after?
I don't know. I don't know that I will.
I can already hear your answer. It's no.
It's probably no.
Yeah.
Because it's a 250 mile range. And something about that 320, probably because my car gets around 320.
Right.
Something about that speaks to me that like I can be comfortable with this.
Yeah.
Because I usually fill up my tank once a week. So I'm like, I could actually fill up my car. I wouldn't even have to fill up every night. I wouldn't have to plug it in.
Right.
Now, to my earlier point, really at that point, I should be able to get a $35,000 Model 3 because I would, in theory, plug it in every night. But the knowledge of the way
you're
I
not
drive,
driving 200 miles a day.
I'm driving
You just don't get 3 days
50 miles a day.
Yeah.
So I don't need it. But knowing that I could actually charge up my car once a week
Yeah.
is comforting to me, helps that range anxiety. But so I'm saving thousands of dollars a year just by owning one.
Yeah.
And they're super high quality, very quiet on the interior, feels good. Everybody says they're comfortable. Just all these other things. Like I'm starting to get to a point like, do I want to really be at a place where I'm spending $410 now a month? Do I really want to get a point where I'm spending another $150 a month?
Right.
No. Is that going to hurt me? No. Is that crazy compared to what other people spend?
Well,
no. Is it more than I should spend?
Yeah.
Yes.
Much to our earlier conversation, though, it is going to hurt you in the sense of, again, not being...
What happens
not
if
not having those
So that's what gets me, right?
options. Yeah.
If I lose my job tomorrow,
Yeah.
not only do I have to make sure whatever I do, even if I had to go, and this is some work ethic for you people, if I had to go and flip burgers
Right.
to make sure I didn't lose my house, okay, so there's $400 for my house payment, my mortgage I need to get. And, you start adding those things together, what's your minimal that you can make per month? Having a guaranteed, $600 and some car payment, that adds into that.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to be in that situation? Not likely. Could I be in that situation, especially in this environment right now? I could.
Right.
So those are the things that I think that like scares me into like, do you really want to make it? Now, I'll add another piece into this, and this is what really threw me. And we don't spend too much more time in this. But one of the things that really got me about it was, so their automation is almost there.
I've heard that shit before.
They're actually making pretty good progress.
Yeah.
I have to say. Now, there's other people too, but they're making pretty good progress on what they're saying. And so I'm like, okay, so you look at Elon's presentation, and he averaged out that the average person using their vehicle to be a robo-taxi while they're at work would make on average, or could make on average, $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, shit, if they turned that on like they want to next year, then I could get it this year. By the end of next year, the car would be basically paid off.
That's fair.
I can make the payments if it doesn't work out that way.
Right.
Right? So it's one of those things
But
where
even
like,
if you're out of a job, you could still send it out.
even more.
Right.
Potentially make more.
Right.
He's just going on the averages if you're driving it.
You're 8
So
hours a day at work or whatever.
So there's little things like that, and being on the ground floor of that, and again, and we're too late. I wanted to talk about this multiple times, and I always want to talk about it too late in the video. But I like what Tesla's doing. They are front-loading every bit of their technology. Most companies, they just go solid loss on innovation.
Right.
And they double down on expensive whatever that goes into whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But here, we're paying for Tesla's innovation.
Oh, 100%.
Their automatic driving capabilities, their solar capabilities, their Powerwall capabilities.
They're turning their innovation into practical products that have an immediate need.
Absolutely. So they're in the best position.
Yeah.
We are paying for all of their innovation. So when they're ready to go to Mars with SpaceX,
they're
we'll
going to be using this technology.
We'll have already tested it out for them. So they're not spending millions and billions of dollars on what ends up going once or twice to Mars. They end up making a lot of that back because they're offering it to us.
Right.
It's just like I am absolutely positive. You've heard it here. here in the very near future, Tesla is going to be offering an HVAC system of some kind that allows you to, recycle water and everything else. So that all can go into SpaceX.
Right.
So again, we're all paying for that. And it's interesting stuff. Again, going back to our conversation the other day, starting with that why. I buy Tesla's why. And it even more makes me want to get one of those, even though I know deep down, like, I should just not have a car payment.
Right.
I am this close to pulling the trigger on getting a Model 3.
I hear you. So, conversely,
Okay.
let me put this out there for
Please.
a second. What if you trade in your car tomorrow for a 1994 Corolla and you ride it out until you get all of the money back for actually purchasing the car, so you can front load it with no risk?
Sure.
How long do you think that would take? 3 years? 2 years?
So what I owe on my car and what it's worth are almost neck and neck right now because I've lost so much depreciation on it.
Right.
So getting rid of that thing would just be an even keel right now. I owe probably about 17 grand on it, and it's
Okay.
worth about 18.
Let's say 7 or 8 or something on some
So let's
dated
say-
Corolla. I was
well,
joking
well,
about the 90s, but
Let's say even early 2000s. I could probably get a Corolla for, especially in the early 2000s. I could probably get one for 6-8 grand.
I still bet you could pad your trade in $1,500, $2,000.
Potentially, yeah.
I mean, you could argue it.
Yeah, especially if you talk them down on the
Right,
used one,
exactly.
right? Yeah, $6,000. I'd probably pay that off in a year if I could, maybe 2 years tops. But the amount of money I would save because my car payment would probably be like $150 a month or something at that point. So even if I got a regular loan,
Pretty low.
yeah, I could just straight save the money for the next couple of years and probably take off. We'll call it $20,000. So I'd only have to finance maybe 25 if I got the not lowest model.
That's fair. Yeah, okay. All right, so second follow-up question. If you had let's say you had 35 grand in the bank right now,
okay.
would you prefer to spend that? Would you run out tomorrow and would you get a Tesla? Or would you have some concern and want to spend that on something else?
If I had 35 grand that I could just spend tomorrow, I would be super tempted for the Tesla, but I'd probably just buy a rental property.
So then, like, effectively, you are in that position right now.
Sure.
I mean, like, effectively,
Yeah.
right? You're spending that money regardless.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just overtime or not
Yeah.
overtime.
What am I doing with it?
So, I mean, I agree with you, but mind you, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate
No,
in the
absolutely.
sense of is it super cool? Oh yeah. Is it potentially money saving from what you have right now? Absolutely. Is it money saving over all potential reliable vehicles at a reduced cost? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, especially if I got a vehicle that was 5 years old, Corolla had already lost its 60% of its value
Right.
and everything like that.
Yeah.
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 Even with maintenance costs, unless it really took a tank on me,
Right.
I could still be
Yeah.
ahead getting like a Corolla or something like that.
And then-
that thing would last like 500,000 miles.
Yeah. And then the follow-up question is of course, in that same vein of, is that how you would want to spend your money regardless? Because hypothetically, at the point where you're signing a loan, you are acquiring that money.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is my short answer to that question is I don't know what I would do. Would I want to spend it on something else? Yeah, but it's not necessarily. Even if I had 35 whatever grand completely liquid and ready to go into a car payment, I'm not sure if I would. I don't know.
100%. So can I? Yeah, I absolutely can. Would it hurt me? No. Should I?
I don't know.
That's what I'm struggling with.
I guess let us know in the comments.
Weigh in, please.
That's the best way to handle it. We'll crowdsource your future. We'll
Crowdsource my
your next
future?
5 years.
Oh my God.
All right, everybody. Throw a like down there. Think about your why. Can he? Should he? I mean, I don't think so. If anything, I'm thinking about trading mine in for a shaggin' wagon.
Absolutely nice.
Thing was the best.
I've missed the shaggin' wagon so much. Pontiac Safari Station Wagon.
Pontiac Safari Station Wagon. What could you not do with that? The answer is nothing.
That was my high school vehicle, by the way, everybody.
Throw a like down there, everybody. Appreciate it. Gotta gear shift that like button.
Gear shift that like button.